Welcome back to People's Guide to Publishing, Quarantine Edition, episode 62, I think. We've lost time and space are now meaningless. All the podcasts I listen to are recorded in home closets.
Ours is kind of like the best insulated home closet. We're here in the warehouse at Microcosm, in the room where we store O through S of our published titles.
At least about half of the OS is in this room.
All of the P's and R's.
Not to mention the P's and Q's.
Oh, do we have any Q's? Not yet. We don't have Q's yet, but we will.
I am Joe Beal, the autistic publisher, the host, the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, the book, and the founder and CEO of Microcosm.
I'm Ellie Blue. I am the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm.
And this week, we are going to answer another reader question. How much does it cost to make an ebook?
People seem to assume that ebooks are free to make.
People assume that ebooks are free to purchase, to have, to hold.
That, no labor and no cost is associated. So let's just, put that rumor to bed.
That rumor is indeed very tired.
So first of all, there's the cost of writing the book.
Yeah, the cost of writing the book is a huge one. The primary cost is editing and development, which, on our average book, those two things probably cost us, all told, $5,000, I would be my guess.
And that's the same for an ebook or for a paper book.
So those are the base costs. Before distribution, before storage, before anything else, printing is normally another 4 to 5 figures on top of that out of the gate. But really, people tend to ignore the fact that it costs money to develop a book into something coherent and to run it through your sales and marketing people and to refine and redesign and
But then once you've done all that, it's free to make an ebook, right?
When you are a publisher, Amazon does not tolerate that. They do not talk to you. They do not have customer service. They expect you to send them a finished Mobi file, which you can create from a finished EPUB file, which you can convert. There's a program called Calibre where you can turn an EPUB into a Mobi at no cost to you.
Except for your time.
And it takes seconds. However, to create an EPUB file, it's like making a website. You have to... And it's like each page spread is another website. So you can find a lot of services that you can hire out for this. If you're working with a distributor, they can normally do these things for you. Typical market rate costs on coding the production of an ebook are 30 cents to $1 a page, depending on the complexity of the book, the quality of work you're hiring out, and, how good of a friend this person is. Because, anybody can learn this. We have a person in-house that does this for us. Shout out to Tommy.
Yay, Tommy.
And, that is an option, but it does take you hours, and hopefully you value your hours. For some people it's either not worth it or they just don't have those kind of skills or whatnot.
So I would say our ebooks take Tommy between, 5 and 20 hours, depending. If there's images on every page, or if it's a guidebook, or if it has, sidebars, or, complicated formatting, it takes much, much longer.
Right. So we're probably right in the pocket of the same $100 to $300 a book.
And then, you calculate how much you pay yourself per hour, or how much that person's time is worth. Mm-hmm. But then there's more costs associated because ebook standards are different across different platforms, and also they change periodically. Every few years there's an update in the standards, and then you need to go back and you need to update all of your ebooks, which takes considerable time. So I've made ebooks before for Amazon, and back in my bad old days before Microcosm, and they have sort of a style guide where you mark up your Word document, where you put little text tags around different headers and show where it begins and ends and things, and it does take a couple hours.
Okay.
It's not like completely automatic.
So even as a self-published author, there is many hours of work involved. And I ran into this issue this week on Quora, where a number of people really were upset that ebooks would cost, $13.99, and they were confused why they could buy the paper book for $14.95 if the ebook still costs $13.99. Because, again, in their mind, the ebook should be free, the ebook costs you nothing. And I was like, oh, this is kind of the perfect example, because when you do have a book like that, the printing does cost you about $1. So that's about right. That's about where it would land.
So wait a minute, though. Do this math for us, because printing a run of books costs thousands of dollars, but creating an ebook only costs hundreds of dollars.
Right.
So how could
there's
that
a
be
couple factors there. So this is probably the thing that has made me the least popular on the internet of anything I've ever said or done. And, there's a lot of data blackout on this issue, but I can tell you our statistics, which is that our ebooks sell about 3% of what our paper books do, up from 1%. So if you think about it that way, so if we sell 3,000 copies of a paper book, that means we sold 90 ebooks. So even if we spent $300 only on making that ebook, that means that our return on investment is not nearly as good as it is on the print run for that same book.
And then how much, so say you spend 2 hours uploading your own self-published ebook to Amazon, how many are you actually going to sell on average?
Well, it depends on your genre. Across the board, the best case statistics are maybe 1 to 5. Say, these are the best numbers I've seen anywhere on the internet, is that 1 in 5 books purchased are an ebook, meaning money is exchanged. It's not a free promotion. In reality, it's probably closer to 1 in 13, So you will see exceptions because of prioritized algorithms and marketing and things like that. When you are a self-published author on Amazon, they give tremendous priority to the ebook format, especially now, over the paper book. So even though the consumer wants the paper book, that is sort of their way of trying to make the sale economical for them. Because let's remember, books are sold at a loss at Amazon most of the time.
But essentially what you're saying is, if you're just self-publishing your ebook to Amazon, even though the cost is negligible to you and it's just your time, that's still the most expensive investment you could make in any format.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit different because you will sell a lot more ebooks than paper books. If you are writing in certain genres, if you're gaming the system by basically writing genres that sell in ebook and publishing on Amazon, so...
Well, let's assume that you're not, though.
Right. So let's say if you're publishing a children's picture book, self-published on Amazon, you'd be lucky to sell 10 ebooks in a year. If same thing with a photography book or, things like a guidebook or something, just because people vastly prefer a paper book, in terms the consumers have spoken, the internet got angry about it, but it's still what people want to spend their money on. Paper.
So in summary.
Paper.
It's the future.
In summary, an ebook will cost you probably about $4 per unit, while a paper book costs you $1 to $1.50 per unit. So, aside from the fact that digital is dead, which, again, my most controversial statement ever on the internet.
And now on the podcast.
The best use of your time as a publisher is to make paper books.
I think we're good.
I'm pretty cool. I'm your host, Joe Beal, author of A People's Guide to Publishing.
And I'm Ellie Blue. I ask the hard questions around here and some softballs too.
And get the hard answers.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
On Twitter at Microcosm.
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
On Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.